Welcome back to the Would You Gaming Podcast, the podcast where we try our best to keep you up to date with all the news in gaming, as well as bringing you entertaining topics in the format of gaming. Today I wanted to discuss something a little bit different with you. I wanted to discuss the Nintendo Switch OLED model that we just got information on yesterday. Nintendo announced this early in the morning, and the internet has kind of gone nuts with this, but as always, I'm your host, Chris. If you're new here, make sure you like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what we can do to improve the podcast. Let your friends know about us so we can grow the brand a bit more and reach more people. So the Nintendo Switch OLED model is not the Switch Pro that we have been hearing about for months now, I think for about 6 months or better, honestly. But it is a slight improvement. It's more of a revision of the existing Switch. The dock will be usable with both old and new Switch models. So if you have an existing model and you just want to purchase the dock, you can even do that. Why that might be important, we'll get into that in just a little bit when we get into the features. But this unit is going to release on October 8th, I believe it were, the same day as Metroid Dread, which makes sense because the last time we got a Switch revision, it released alongside the Link's Awakening game that came out. Aside from this, we had the Switch Lite that came out about 2 years ago today. It was a cheaper model. This has been the first big change other than maybe better performance overall, just a better model SKU change, basically. So we've had revisions of the new Nintendo Switch that came out a little bit after the old one. It was improved a bit over the older base model. I can't remember what features they put into that weren't in the original. I just know that they didn't fix Joy-Con drift. But aside from that, let's not take shots at Nintendo today. We're going to let them ride. They've got a good thing going here, I think, with this Switch. My only thing is, I'm not sure who it exactly is for. The new Nintendo Switch has a larger screen and of course, an OLED display for the tablet itself, which is a much crisper image than what we've already been given, but there's no more processing power in this unit. There is double the storage in the base Switch, but that's only from 32 to 64 gigs, so that's not anything extraordinary. The price is just $50 more than the regular Switch, which isn't terrible if you were maybe thinking of getting a new one and you wanted this sleek new model. The real benefits come from this if you play in handheld mode, though, because the rest of the hardware inside the Switch is about the same. Now we do have the Switch dock itself, which will have a Ethernet port, thankfully, which maybe will alleviate some of the lag if you were always playing Smash Online or Fortnite, whatever you're playing on the Switch. So that might be something you consider there. But by and large, it is just the same, just a bigger tablet, nicer display. The Joy-Cons do look nice. I like the silver look on those myself. I have to wonder, though, if they maybe put a little bit more time or revise the Joy-Cons themselves to avoid Joy-Con drift in the future on these models as well, or if they're just the same one reskinned in a different shell. Time will only tell what the answer to that is, but we will see what that gives us in the future and what Nintendo has provided for us. So this is a good Switch. If you're like me, though, I kind of don't see the point in it. I don't know who it's for. Like I said, I'm not sure who this Switch is for, unless you're just gaming online and you want as limited amount of latency as possible for your online play. This might be for you, but then again, you could just purchase a dock there. They haven't released the information on the price of that dock yet, I don't believe. But I have to think that if that's your main concern and that's the reason you're getting it, you could save a little bit of money, just purchase the dock. If you're primarily playing in handheld and you're using the older Switch, I can see it. I can see this being the perfect excuse to go out and get a new one. A brighter display. It's just prettier all around, and it's going to have more to offer you at the end of the day. But if you're like me, I transitioned to the Switch Lite when it released, like I said, about 2 years ago. And I haven't looked back. I use a Satisfy grip in case, and it fits perfectly in my hand, the Switch Lite does. If I try to play on the older Switch at this point, it's just too large for me because I need to use that Satisfy grip. It just doesn't feel ergonomic in my hands, and by the time I add that, it's too large. Even the Switch itself by itself is just too large for me, and it feels too fragile to hold like that. If that makes any sense, you're putting stress on the Joy-Cons, and of course that's not good for it in the long run. It could cause problems with wear and tear. I know somebody who has a Switch, their Joy-Cons just they don't register half the time when he plugs them in there. So that's one of the things I consider there. I always advocate if my kid's playing in handheld mode or one of her friends is playing it, hey, put it in the Satisfy grip. It offers that little bit of support to the Switch itself to keep it from moving around, possibly bending some of those Joy-Cons, put more strain on those already fragile controllers. But like I said, I'm not sure who this is for unless that's you and you just play primarily in handheld and you want the crisp screen. If you playing on the TV like I do most of the time if I'm playing at home, then it doesn't make sense to go out and spend $350 on this. Now I'm sure we're not going to get a Switch Pro with any improved graphics processing power or anything like that anytime soon. It will probably be a couple of years since we've just gotten this revision. Nintendo wouldn't exactly just put this out and then 6 months down the road release a new model, because at that point they're kind of fighting themselves for units sold. Everybody would, you would think, go for the upgraded processing power, 4K if they offered that. But at this time, we're not getting that. So we just got 1080p on the TVs. And like I said, that OLED display. This is a neat model, though. Don't get me wrong. If I had the money in hand to throw away, just had excess cash, I might be tempted to get one myself. Because this is a sleeker model. It looks very crisp. In the front of it, I like the dock and everything it has going for it there. It just looks very good. And I want to touch on something. Nintendo is usually the one to use older components and cheaper processing power, cheaper components there, innovating with older technology. This is like a more premium console that we have here that Nintendo's come out with. And like I said, I think it'll look good beside the TV. If you just want something more fancy beside the TV, looks a heck of a lot better than the old Switch dock. Granted, that black with the Switch I'm staring at it right now doesn't look bad, but it's just not as crisp as this. It's kind of like when they released the Destiny Taken King. I think it was Taken King, the PS4. It might have just been a base Destiny PS4, but they released that and it was all white and it looked just spectacular. I like that. Not to say it's gonna stay that way for long, but it sure looks good out of the box, I'll say that. Besides somebody's entertainment center, beside their TV, have to imagine some people are going to say, you know what, that looks really good. Let me pick that up just for that, because at the end of the day, this is the more premium model. If you're playing in handheld, it makes sense to me on that Switch. But as it stands, a lot of people have transitioned to the Lite, myself included. I don't know how many people are going to want to go back to the larger display and have that hulking thing in their hands. To me, like I said, it just does not feel right. It doesn't feel right at the end of the day, because I'm so used to the Switch Lite, the ergonomic grip of that Satisfy. I enjoy the feel of it in my hand. I only primarily play that for Pokemon, or let's see, I play Animal Crossing on it daily and check mine daily, but any other time I'm on the Switch, I'm usually on the TV. If I'm playing Monster Hunter, I'm trying to get on the TV, because the controller is a little bit easier to reach everything without it being spread so far. Let me know what you guys think. Is this something you're planning to pick up? It is a nice Switch at the end of the day. It's crisp looking. You can get that OLED display and that'll shine like a diamond in your hands. Let me know what you think below, and if you have any new ideas for us on topics we can cover, reach out to us. Again, thanks for tuning in. This has been Chris.